Hi Calculus 2 students. Before moving on, I should say that this video is for the section 19, okay, because section 18 we actually have seen this in class. So it's actually a difficult example, okay, and this is also why I want to do it on YouTube, because in class, like it's a little bit too complicated to be a nicely presented problem. Okay, so first thing that you need to see is that there's two letters, right? There's X and there's A. What you need to see here is that X is the variable of the problem. So in other words, it is the variable of the function. So X is the variable. What I mean by this is that it's the input of f of x. Now this a that you see here, like you see it here, and then also here and here, turns out to be a parameter that defines the function. So parameter of the function. So for example, remember when you were talking about parabolas in high school, a times x minus h squared plus k. So this a, this h, and this k are the parameters that we're talking about here. And of course, we want to find the limit as x is approaching a. So, okay, let's begin it. Unfortunately, as you can see, I must rewrite it as is to be able to proceed. So, okay, I'll do something a little bit funky. This is equal by direct substitution. Then as you substitute, what are you going to get? Okay, you'll get square root of 9a minus 3 square root of a divided by, okay, so 5a squared minus a squared. So that's going to be the square root of 4a squared. Okay, minus 2a. And because a is greater than 0, okay, so I remind you, like it's written over here. So since a is greater than 0, it means that square root of 4a squared is simply equal to 2a. In other words, thanks to that, we are getting 0 over 0. All right. Now for this one, I need a lot of space. So I'm going to just first rewrite it as is. Plus 2a minus 3 square root of x divided by, there you go, you have 5x squared minus a squared minus 2x. Okay. So remember what you want to do when you have 0 over 0. What you want to do is to cancel a redundant factor. Okay? And here, you cannot factor the top because they're square roots. So what you're going to do is you're going to rationalize the top. Let's put a color for that. So you're going to multiply by the conjugate 7x plus 2a plus 3 square root of x. And then obviously you multiply the bottom by the same thing. So this is going to clear the square roots of the top. But what I want you to notice is that the same problem, the exact same problem, is happening also at the denominator. We also cannot factor because there is a square root. There's a square root over here. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to rationalize the denominator. So it means that we have to multiply, again, both the top and the bottom by the conjugate of the denominator. 5x squared minus a squared plus 2x. I have to be careful here. Okay. All right. Now let's have a look at what happens. This is very important. So at the top, remember these are the conjugates. So I will actually use the same color coding to create the difference of squares. Like you have a difference of squares here at the top. And the difference of squares involve these terms. So in other words, you have like the square root of 7x plus 2a. And then here you have negative 3 square root of x. That's what you square. And this means that this at the top won't get used. So actually you should put again brackets here because there's another multiplication, but this is not going to get used. So let's write it as is. Square root of 5x squared minus a squared plus 2x. Okay. What I want you to see is that at the bottom, this will create a difference of squares with the green one. Okay, so it will create a green difference of squares. That again, I will put in brackets just for safety purposes. So again, it's these two terms. So square root of 5x squared minus a squared. And you have here 2x. Actually, I'm going to move this at the top a little bit. I realized that I didn't write it super well. There you are, 5x squared minus a squared. And what's left is now the orange, right? It's the orange that is not used in the denominator. So let's recopy it again as is. So we have here the square root of 7x plus 2a. Wait. Oh, there you go. This is a mistake. Okay, so if you guys didn't understand that part, it's a mistake. So don't forget when you rationalize, it must be the exact same thing. So good thing I was able to catch it up. Here you go. You have plus 3 square root of x. That is like hanging around. Now don't forget that none of these factors in blue give 0, so we don't care about them. The factors that are giving 0 are the difference of squares that are written down. So let's go ahead and actually simplify them. Okay, so at the top, you have 7x plus 2a minus 9x. So you're going to get, and I will keep the color code, you'll have negative 2x plus 2a. So that's what the orange becomes. Then let's rewrite everything. 5x squared minus a squared plus 2x. Then at the bottom, let's see what the green is becoming. We have 5x squared minus a squared minus 4x squared. So that will become, wait a minute, x squared minus a squared. So after you square both and combine, that's what you will get. And let's write again here you go, the 7x plus 2a plus 3 square root of x. Okay, now we are winning because look, the only thing we need to do is to factor these two things because these are the things giving 0 when x is approaching a. So here goes, limit as x is approaching a of factoring the top is quite easy. We just factor out a negative 2 times the square root. 5x squared minus a squared plus 2x. And the bottom is a difference of squares. So x squared minus a squared will turn into x minus a, x plus a. And you have like 7x plus 2a plus 3 square root of x. don't forget, your goal is to cancel the common factor, and it's right here. You have x minus a at the top and x minus a at the bottom. After canceling these, what you do is direct substitution. So by direct substitution, what you get, so this is out of the way. I will keep the color coding because, again, it's a little bit hard to read, right? You have the -2 here. Now this, it's going to become here, as you replace x with a, you're going to get the square root of 4a squared and plus 2a, no problem here, divided, and now this will turn into twice a. And this thing, as you replace x with a, you're going to get, I'm going to write it all, the square root of 9a plus 3 square root of a. Now, the only thing you need to do is to actually perform the calculation. So -2/2 gives you -1. Now, here you're going to get 2a plus 2a, which is 4a. So we have here -4a divided by this a that was not canceled. So, no, there's no point. Yes, I'll keep it in green. No worries about that. And the negative, I'll put it in orange just to remind you that it comes from the negative that is right here. And then here, what we have is 3 square root of a. They end up being the same thing. So 3 square root of a plus 3 square root of a is going to give 6 square root of a. And then the answer fully reduced gives us -2 over 3 square root of a. As I said, quite a long problem, quite challenging. Took me, as you can see, 12 minutes to explain in detail. So it's not a good problem to present in a classroom. Hopefully this helped. And see you next class.